Hello, Lodgers. This is Tim with some upcoming big changes and updates coming to The Last Lodge. Before we get to that, though, I hope that everyone enjoyed The Sigil, our final episode for the first season. It was quite a season, stretching for over 14 months. Upcoming seasons probably won't be quite as long, but no one can say they didn't get their money's worth with this past one. Seasons are one of those changes that I mentioned. Instead of having one long continuous storyline, we're breaking things up into seasons. We're doing this for a few reasons. The first is that it will allow us to really focus in on particular events for extended periods of time, creating self-contained stories that also fit into the wider Last Lodge canon. The second reason is that this will help create jumping on points for new viewers. While we love the intertwined nature of the ongoing main storyline, we also realize that it can be very difficult for those just finding the channel to get in on the fun. Each season will have a beginning, middle, and end, allowing folks to get started without having to do a ton of homework first. Don't worry, each season will also be connected into the larger Lodge world as well, so you'll get the most out of it if you started from the beginning. Some of you may have noticed that each season having a solid end doesn't really match up so much with the cliffhanger at the end of The Sigil. No spoilers, but that little discrepancy will be explained in due time. The second season will begin this coming fall. For those of you that were with us last year, you know that we took a break from the end of May to the beginning of September. I use the term break loosely because we still put up new content, but it was content that wasn't connected to the ongoing storyline. That segues nicely to our next announcement. Here's the short version. We are going to be closing our second channel, Echoes of Elsewhere. Now for the longer, more detailed version. To understand why we're closing Echoes and why it's a good thing that we're actually excited about, you also have to understand why it came into existence in the first place. Our goal with the channel was to have a place to share our more outlandish ideas, the absolutely crazy and often humorous stories that simply didn't fit with the main Last Lodge storyline. We had these stories that we wanted to tell, but nowhere proper to put them, so the logical path forward seemed to be a second channel. And it worked. Echoes of Elsewhere had some of the highest viewed content that we ever produced, and the click-through rate on a number of those was stellar. It was progressing nicely towards the goals that we had set for it. So if that's the case, why close it if it was a success? To put it bluntly, the Echoes channel shouldn't have been made in the first place. It came from a place of misunderstanding of what the Last Lodge channel really is. When I first pitched Echoes to Will, I was laser focused on the fact that the Lodge has this long involved connected storyline that needed preserving. My thought process was that storyline was the Lodge channel. At its core, though, that's not what the Last Lodge is about. It's about providing a platform for the stories that Will and I want to tell. When viewed through that lens, having a second channel doesn't make sense. Everything should be collected together in one place rather than scattered across multiple channels. Instead of being a separate channel, Echoes of Elsewhere is being transitioned into a category here on The Last Lodge. It will be a label that covers all stories that exist outside of the main Last Lodge storyline. They will be clearly labeled in the video descriptions and playlists, so it'll be easy to tell them apart from the main canon stories. Everything we write and create will have one happy home going forward. The existing content on the Echoes of Elsewhere channel will be transitioned over to the Last Lodge channel during the summer. This won't be replacing content uploads, but instead complementing them. More content is always a good thing, right? Also, keep an eye out for new Echoes content coming shortly. We have some truly insane stuff in the pipeline. Okay, so that's the housekeeping out of the way. Let's get down to the real reason you're here. The hot, sexy content. Where to start? Will's The Devil's Due series is coming to the Last Lodge. Even if you've heard entries in it before, you'll be getting the full and expanded story here. If you listen to one series this year, make it the Devil's Due. Then listen to all of our other stories too. Views make the YouTube world go round. After much discussion, we decided that having one Halloween simply wasn't enough. To correct this glaring problem in the universe, we've gone ahead and created our own spooky holiday. This summer, you'll all be treated to this event, an event that we call Sommerstide. Come celebrate this completely real and not at all made up holiday with us. More details on that to come. Speaking of things with more details to come, there's a documentary in the works. Does a giant monster lurk in the depths of a pond in Ohio? Or is it simply the product of what appears to be a problem with alcohol affecting pretty much the entirety of the town? You can decide yourself when Echoes Investigates, the Tater Pond Monster, hits the channel this summer. There are plenty of surprises coming up in the next few months, and we can't wait to share them with you. Until then, though, we want to thank each and every one of you loyal lodgers that have stuck with us during our first year. It is greatly appreciated, and we don't take the commitment you've made to us for granted. We hope you all have a fantastic summer, and remember, the lodge doors are always open.